Some stories force us to question what fairness and loyalty really mean. They challenge our assumptions about justice, belonging, and the promises a nation makes to those who serve it. These stories linger, echoing in the halls of power and in the quiet moments of reflection, asking us to look deeper at the values we hold most dear. The story of Se-Jun Park is one of those. A man who wore the U.S. Army uniform, was wounded in combat, and awarded a Purple Heart. He risked his life for a country he believed was his own, standing shoulder to shoulder with fellow soldiers, facing dangers most of us can only imagine. His sacrifice was recognized with one of the nation's highest honors for bravery and injury in battle. Yet today, December 13, 2025, Park is not in the country he calls home. He's been deported to South Korea, a place he barely remembers, a land that feels foreign, despite being his birthplace. The journey back was not a homecoming but an exile, marked by confusion and loss. For Park, the familiar streets of America are now out of reach, replaced by the distant lights of a city he never truly knew. Park's journey is a testament to both the American dream and its potential to become a nightmare. He once believed in the promise that hard work, sacrifice, and loyalty would be rewarded, but for some, that dream can slip away in an instant, replaced by uncertainty and heartbreak. His story is a reminder that the ideals we celebrate can sometimes be overshadowed by the realities of bureaucracy and policy. He arrived in the U.S. at age 7, grew up American in every way but on paper, and answered the call to serve. Park played Little League, pledged allegiance in school, and dreamed in English. He built friendships, found mentors, and made a life that was indistinguishable from any other American kid. When the time came, he didn't hesitate to put on the uniform and defend the only country he truly knew. But a mix of personal mistakes and a rigid immigration system unraveled his life. A minor legal misstep, combined with a complex web of paperwork and deadlines, set off a chain reaction that the system was unwilling to forgive. The rules were clear, but the consequences were devastating, turning a decorated veteran into an outsider overnight. His deportation raises tough questions. Does service erase past mistakes? Who truly belongs? Should a person's worth be measured by a single error, or by a lifetime of loyalty and sacrifice? These are questions that lawmakers, veterans, and citizens alike are now forced to confront, as Park's case becomes a symbol of a larger debate. 2 days ago, Park's story became a national spectacle in Congress, his face appearing on an iPad, a digital ghost haunting a debate about the soul of a nation. Lawmakers argued, journalists reported, and the public watched as his fate became a touchstone for the country's conscience. The image of Park, beamed in from across the world, was a stark reminder of the human cost behind policy decisions. This is not just about one man, but about how we treat those who serve, especially when they're not yet citizens. Park's story forces us to ask, what do we owe to those who risk everything for our country? And how do we ensure that the values we defend abroad are truly honored at home? December 11, 2025. A House committee hearing on Homeland Security turns personal. Secretary Kristi Noem, representing the Trump administration, faces tough questions from Representative Seth Magaziner. Magaziner asks, how many military veterans has DHS deported? Noem replies, we have not deported United States citizens or military veterans. Magaziner, undeterred, reveals Se-Jun Park's face on an iPad, joining live from exile. The room falls silent. Here is living proof that contradicts Noem's claim. Magaziner presses, this man took 2 bullets for our country. The debate shifts from policy to a single human life. The confrontation is no longer about numbers, it's about honor, sacrifice, and the nation's soul. The moment is raw, unscripted, and unforgettable. Park's story is now at the center of a national reckoning. To understand Park's exile, go back to 1989, Operation Just Cause Panama. Park, a green card holder, fought bravely for the U.S. Army and was shot twice. He received the Purple Heart, a symbol of sacrifice. No one imagined the same government would one day cast him out. Park was a hero by any measure, but he wasn't a citizen. Like many immigrant soldiers, he assumed service would lead to citizenship. But the process was unclear, and he fell through the cracks. Decades later, that missing piece of paper, citizenship, became his undoing. The law saw him as a non-citizen, vulnerable to deportation for any misstep. The bullets he took earned him a medal, but not the protection he needed. Park's battle didn't end in Panama. For many veterans, the return home marks the beginning of a different kind of war, a silent struggle that unfolds far from the battlefield, in the shadows of everyday life. Returning home, Park faced the invisible wounds of PTSD. Haunted by memories he couldn't escape, he turned to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. Like so many others, he found himself isolated, unable to connect with family or friends, and trapped in a cycle of self-destruction that felt impossible to break. His struggles led to minor, non-violent offenses, petty crimes that stemmed from addiction and desperation. Each incident added another mark to his record, slowly building a wall between him and the life he once knew. These were not the actions of a hardened criminal, but of a wounded veteran lost in addiction, searching for relief in all the wrong places. Park's pain was shared by countless others who returned from service, only to find themselves fighting a new, invisible enemy. But Park's story is also one of redemption. With the help of fellow veterans and dedicated counselors, he fought his way to sobriety. Through years of hard work, setbacks and small victories, he rebuilt his life, and has now been clean for 14 years, a testament to his resilience and determination. Despite his transformation and efforts to give back to his community, the immigration system did not forget his past mistakes. The shadow of his criminal record lingered, threatening everything he had worked so hard to reclaim. In 2010, a judge ordered his removal from the country. Park fought back, filing appeals and hoping for mercy, but each attempt was denied. The system, rigid and unyielding, offered no second chances. For over a decade, Park lived in the U.S. under deferred action, always looking over his shoulder, never certain of his future. In 2025, stricter enforcement policies ended his reprieve, and the threat of deportation became a reality. Park was forced to leave the only home he'd ever known, separated from his family, friends, and the country he had served with honor. His journey from decorated veteran to exile is a stark reminder of how unforgiving the system can be, even to those who have sacrificed so much. For Park, the American dream became a bureaucratic nightmare, his Saracen end and redemption overshadowed by a system that refused to see the person behind the paperwork. His story is a warning and a call for change. It's a reminder that the fight for justice and compassion for our veterans is far from over. Secretary Noem's claim, "We have not deported veterans," relies on a technicality. While the statement may sound definitive, it glosses over the complex reality faced by many who served in the U.S. military. The truth is, the government has in fact deported individuals who wore the uniform, fought for the country, and risked their lives, but who lacked citizenship on paper. Legally, those deported aren't citizens, but many served in the U.S. military. They trained, deployed, and sacrificed alongside their fellow Americans. Yet, because of missing paperwork, bureaucratic errors, or misunderstandings about their status, they found themselves facing removal from the only country they truly called home. This bureaucratic language obscures a painful truth. Service members can be exiled over paperwork. For many, the process is confusing and overwhelming, with little guidance or support. The system often fails to recognize the sacrifices these veterans have made, reducing their service to a matter of technicalities. For these veterans, their service is their identity, not their immigration status. They see themselves as Americans, bonded by shared experiences and a deep sense of duty. Their commitment to the nation is unquestionable, even if their paperwork says otherwise. To be told they're not real veterans because of citizenship feels like betrayal. It's a wound that cuts deep, undermining their sense of belonging and the value of their sacrifice. Many struggle with feelings of abandonment, wondering if their service truly mattered. Magazin refused to let this stand, insisting Park's sacrifice mattered more than legal definitions. He argued that the nation owes a debt to all who serve, regardless of their citizenship status, and that compassion should guide our policies. The iPad became a tool to break through bureaucratic walls. It allowed Park's voice to be heard in the halls of power, reminding lawmakers that behind every case is a real person, a real story, and a real sacrifice. The exchange exposed a disconnect between the law and the nation's promise to its service members. It forced a reckoning with the values we claim to uphold: honor, loyalty, and gratitude for those who serve. Noem represented rigid rules, Magaziner compassion, and nuance. Their confrontation highlighted the tension between strict adherence to the law and the moral responsibility to do right by those who have served. The debate was about more than policy. It was about what kind of country we want to be. Do we define our heroes by paperwork or by their actions and sacrifices? The nation watched as two worldviews collided, and the outcome would help shape the future for countless veterans still waiting for justice. Confronted with Park's face, Secretary Noam's stance softened. Magaziner asked her to thank Park for his service, a simple human request. Noam replied, "I'm grateful for every person who served and follows our laws," qualifying her gratitude. The implication: Park's past mistakes negated his sacrifice. Magaziner pressed on, "This man took 2 bullets for our country." The pressure mounted, and Noam finally conceded, "I will absolutely look at his case." It wasn't a promise of reversal, but it was a glimmer of hope. For Park, it was the first sign that someone in power might listen. The promise was made under public scrutiny, but it was a promise nonetheless. The nation now waited to see if it would be kept. Park's case is not unique. Magaziner highlighted others like Jim Brown's wife, facing deportation over 2 bad checks written decades ago. The system's zero-tolerance approach offers no room for context or compassion. Veterans and their families can be exiled for minor mistakes, regardless of service or rehabilitation. Hundreds of veterans have been deported, many more face removal. These are men and women who served in Vietnam, Panama, Iraq, Afghanistan. They returned home, some wounded only to be told they no longer belong. The crisis is silent, until moments like this force it into the spotlight. The question: will we stand by those who stood for us? In minutes, the Capitol Hill confrontation went viral. Clips of Magaziner revealing Park on the iPad spread across social media, sparking outrage and support. The hashtag #BringParkHome trended as Americans demanded action. Veterans groups, immigrant advocates, and citizens flooded Congress with calls. Park's story, once hidden, became a national cause. The public pressure was immense. Noam's promise was now a public pledge. The viral moment forced the administration to confront an uncomfortable truth. The nation demanded accountability and a resolution for Park. A quiet injustice was now impossible to ignore. Se-Jun Park's story is a mirror for our nation's values. Do we honor those who serve or discard them when they falter? The laws that exiled Park were meant to protect, but now punish those who've sacrificed most. It's time for leaders to allow judges to weigh a person's whole story, not just their worst moments. Service should guarantee a path to citizenship, automatic, retroactive, and protected. We must review deported veterans' cases and offer a way home. This isn't amnesty, it's honor. The country is watching to see if Noam's promise is kept. Bringing Park home would reaffirm that America stands by its heroes, in glory and in struggle. It's the only decent and honorable thing to do.